Kyle Larson is one of the fastest drivers in all of NASCAR. He's a two-time champion, and everybody knows he can win just about anywhere. So here's the strange part. This same driver hasn't won a single race in more than a year, and that long dry spell is starting to feel very heavy. Let me lay out the numbers, because they tell the whole story. Larson has now gone 42 races without a win. His last trip to victory lane came way back at Kansas in May of 2025. For a driver this talented, that's a shockingly long time to wait. Fans keep asking the same thing every single weekend. What in the world is going on with Kyle Larson? But here's why this weekend feels different. NASCAR is heading back to a track that has always treated Larson very, very well. That track is Chicagoland Speedway, just outside Chicago in Joliet, Illinois. And if there's one place where Larson should feel good about ending this streak, it's right here. Let me explain why. Chicagoland is what people call a mile-and-a-half track. That just means it's 1.5 miles around, with wide, sweeping turns. These kinds of tracks are Larson's specialty. He's always run fast on them. Larson said it simply himself. It's a mile and a half, so any mile and a half I have some confidence going to before the weekend starts. Now look at his record at this exact track. In 6 Cup Series starts at Chicagoland, Larson has finished in the top 5 4 times. Even better, his average finish here is 6.17. That's the best average of any driver in the track's history who has raced there more than once. So on paper, nobody has been better at Chicagoland than Kyle Larson. There's just one catch, and it's a big one. In all those strong runs, Larson has never actually won here. He's come close, painfully close, but the trophy has always slipped away. This race is also a bit of a mystery for everyone. Sunday's race, called the eero 400, is the first Cup Series race at Chicagoland since 2019. That's a long break. Most teams are walking in a little unsure of what to expect, but Larson has a head start. Back in April, he took part in 2 full days of testing at the track. That extra time already seems to be paying off, because he showed up with one of the fastest cars in Friday practice. And that testing helped more than just him. Larson drives for Hendrick Motorsports, so he shares information with his 3 teammates, Chase Elliott, William Byron, and Alex Bowman. Here's how Larson put it. I felt like we learned a lot about our race car at the test that has benefited the 4 of us as we've moved on from it. He also stayed humble, adding that everybody else is so good, they'll catch up to that speed fast. His teammate, William Byron, even joked about how much he leaned on Larson's work. Byron said it felt like being the kid in high school that's using all his homework, because the team basically used all of Larson's test notes. Now let me get to the reason so many people think this really could be the turning point. Larson is heating up at the perfect time. In his last 6 races, he has finished in the top 5 in 5 of them. His most recent run was a strong 4th-place finish at Sonoma. So the speed is clearly there, the results are climbing, and the confidence is building. All he needs is that one win to change the whole story. But there's a deeper, more emotional side to Larson's return to Chicagoland. Some of his most famous moments happened right here. He finished 2nd at this track twice. He lost to Alex Bowman in 2019, and before that, he lost to Kyle Busch in 2018, in a finish people still talk about today. That 2018 battle was door-to-door, side-by-side, all the way to the line. It's one of the most memorable finishes in the track's history. That memory hits much harder now. Kyle Busch passed away in May of 2026 at just 41 years old. Before Larson tested at Chicagoland in April, he had rewatched that last lap duel with Busch. Then he watched the highlights again this week before returning. He said the race means something completely different to him now. In his own words, "It was a really neat battle, and it's always fun to be a part of battles that still to this day get replayed. And I've been a part of a few." Then he added something that shows how much he misses his old rival. "So yeah, just wish he was here for obvious reasons and we could have another battle." Now let me get to the wildest twist of this weekend. Larson isn't just racing the whole field. He's also going head-to-head with his own teammate, William Byron, in a special event called the In-Season Challenge. Here's how it works. It's a 5-race, bracket-style tournament, kind of like March Madness in basketball. Drivers get matched up one-on-one, and the last one standing wins $1 million. Larson is the number 6 seed, and Byron is the number 11 seed, Whoever finishes higher on Sunday moves on to the next round at Atlanta on July 12. And Larson, being honest and a little funny, admitted he was hoping for an easier draw. He joked, "I was hopeful to see somebody worse than William when I saw the matchup." But both drivers say that $1 million won't change how they race. For them, the real goal is still just winning the race. Larson explained it this way: "It would be fun to go heads up with William, but it's really not something that you're too focused on in the race." He said, "You're always focused on winning first, because if you win, everything else takes care of itself." He admitted that as the finish gets closer, you do pay a little more attention to your teammate. "But mostly," he said, "I'm just trying to do a good job." Byron feels the same way, though he has a tougher hill to climb. His season has been, in his words, really up and down. He's not chasing bonuses right now. He's chasing points and consistency. Byron admitted his team is pretty far down in the standings and needs to get things rolling. He also gave Larson full respect, saying, "Kyle always runs well at mile and a halves," before quickly reminding everyone that there's 38 other guys out there too. There's one more interesting topic these two teammates talked about. Lately, some people have said that NASCAR's new point system has changed the way drivers race. But both Larson and Byron pushed back on that idea. Byron said there's more focus now on stage points and winning, but the hard-charging style hasn't changed at all. If anything, he said the middle of the pack is more chaotic than ever. Larson was even more blunt about it. He said, "I know a lot of media keeps trying to push this narrative that the racing is different now that points matter, but I don't think the racing has changed at all." He finished by saying it's still as chaotic as it has always been. So that brings us back to the big question. Is this finally the turning point for Kyle Larson? Look at everything lined up in his favor. He has the best average finish in Chicagoland history. He had one of the fastest cars in Friday practice. He was one of only 3 Cup Series drivers hand-picked for 2 extra days of testing at the track back in April. And he has 5 top 5 finishes in his last 6 races. But the other side is just as real. 42 races have come and gone without a win. And as good as he's been at this track, he has still never actually won here. On top of all that, to finally break the streak, he might have to beat his own teammate to do it. The speed is there. The history is there. The motivation is there. Now the only thing left is to see if Kyle Larson can finally cross that line first. Kyle Larson has spent more than a year hearing the same question over and over, and this weekend at Chicagoland he finally has the chance to answer it in the loudest way possible. Everything is lined up in his favor, from his record-best average finish to his fast practice runs to that rare early testing edge. But the pressure of 42 winless races is real, and the strange truth is, he's never actually won at the one track that suits him best.